Welcome everyone to the Tower Project. Today what I want to do is make a supplemental video to the tournament announcement that I posted the other day. I've been getting a lot of questions as far as the rules and the tournament format, and so I want to make a supplemental video to that where I go in depth through those things, through the document, and show you guys everything in a video form so that way you don't have to read the 18-page document. So let's pop over here to the tournament document. And we'll scroll down through the introduction and the table of contents and everything. So the tournament's going to be broken up into two sections. There's league games and there's playoff games. Like we talked about, league games are where each team plays each other team one time attacking, one time defending. Playoff games are best of three. One time attacking, one time defending. If it goes to a third match, then we upgrade from a castle to a fortress, and the team with the best record up to that point gets to choose whether or not they want to attack or defend. Whereas if we're in the finals round, and we go up from fortress to a citadel, then the team that has the best win from the 1-to-1 record gets to choose who attacks and who defends. So if one of the teams lost 60% and the other team lost 70% to get their appropriate win, then the team that only lost 60% will get to choose who attacks versus who defends. And everything past the league games are all best of three. And in the league games, everything is in castles. And then when we go to the playoffs, rounds 1 and 2 will be a castle. If there's a third game, it will go to a fortress. In the finals match, rounds 1 and 2 will be a fortress. Round 3 will be a citadel. We're going to use a random number generator to determine the culture. 1 to 3, 1 is northern, 2 is southern, 3 is Middle East. And teams will consist of 3 players, maximum of 5, minimum of 3. And I need all 8 teams to have their 3 players before I let anybody have a 5th. I've let a couple teams have 4, but I'm not going to let anybody have 5 before we get all 8 teams going. Currently, we're at like 6.5 or 6 2/3. We need 1 more player to finish our 7th team, and then we just need team 8. And then we already talked about league games. The scoring, with the one caveat to that: a win is 1 point, heroic victory gets you 2, a loss is 0, crushing defeat loses you a point. So you don't want to get a crushing defeat, as that will really hurt you in the playoffs because your record will be significantly diminished. And that'll mean if it does go to a game 3, you're probably not going to get to choose whether or not you attack or defend. Bracket rounds or tournament, the playoff rounds will be best of 3 like we talked about. And then it goes through cultures and everything will be decided randomly. I did add one big thing here with some of the strikes in the tournament, and that is what you see in red. Please note, by participating in the tournament, you agree to respect all decisions made by official tournament officials and decisions that are upheld. Same deal with the rules. By joining the tournament, you agree to abide by the rules of the tournament, all that kind of stuff. There won't be a set battle time limit for battles, but we are, in the interest of maintaining a reasonable amount of time in the battles, we are issuing things that are called strikes, one of them being a delay of game strike. So basically, if you have 1 unit of horse archers left and you're running them around the castle and just not getting in any engagements, not doing anything, and you're just running around the castle until the other team quits, that's going to constitute a delay of game strike. If you keep doing it, you'll get striked again. If you get 3 strikes, you'll lose the game. And so delay of game, if players need to pause or something, or they need to be AFK for a couple minutes, as long as you say it in the text, as long as you chat it to the players, and as long as it's under 10 minutes, then you're good to go. But you need to, you can't leave for 30 minutes and expect everybody to just wait for you. And before a delay of game strike is issued, there will be a clear warning by the tournament official to say, hey, You can't just, you're down to that horse archer unit. You can't just keep running it around the map. So you need to stop doing that and fight, or it's going to constitute a strike. So you have to get a clear warning before that strike can be issued. Another strike is unsportsmanlike conduct, so don't cuss people out. And I know we covered a lot of this in the other video. That's why I'm kind of going somewhat quickly through it. Breaking the rules if you bring 7 horse archers or something. If you break the rules of the tournament, that's a strike as well. Got some definitions for you there, but this is the part I really want to focus on, the tournament rules. So for the round 2 qualifiers, this is the first section of the tournament. Everybody on the defending team is going to get 14K. On the attacking team, they're going to get 11K. So if you want to start building some custom armies for the tournament, you know what the rules and the money is going to be. Of course, you want to make sure you spend all of your money, but we're all good enough players where you know that. Now, one thing we added to the document, and that's why it's in red here, playoff games with the fortresses, we are going to amend the money and the rules when we go to a fortress and when we go to a citadel. So when we go to a fortress, we're going to give an extra 2K to the defending team and an extra 3K to the attacking team, just to make up for that wall, that second wall there. So instead of being a 5,000 difference between defend and attack team, there's going to be a 6,000 florin difference between the attack team and the defense team. When we go to the Citadel, however, if we go to the Citadel in the finals match, then the discrepancy is widened significantly. The defenders get 18K apiece, the attackers get 15K apiece, so there's a 9K difference between the defending and the attacking team, because you have 3 walls. And we're also going to amend the rules a little bit for fortresses and citadels, as we'll go a little bit down here. But I just want to show you guys the money differences. So again, if you want to make custom armies before the tournament starts, you can do that. So, first section of the rules here, artillery and siege equipment. The attacking team were capping at 4 artillery for castles. It was at 5 before, but 5 is really excessive for a castle siege. If you're bringing, 2 basilisks honestly would be enough to take the castle down, but attacking team can have up to 4 artillery. Both cannons and wooden artillery are allowed. We are not counting crosses or standards as artillery. So you could bring, if you wanted, 20 great crosses, and we wouldn't have any problem with it. You probably wouldn't win, but you could do it. And if we go to a fortress, we bump up the artillery to 5. If we go to a citadel, we bump it up to 6. So that way, the attackers can have more artillery to take down the additional walls. The defending team may have 2 artillery, and it does go up to 3 in the fortress or citadel games. We are not putting any kind of limit on towers, rams, or ladders. You can bring as many as you want or as few as you want. I would obviously recommend you bring as many as possible, but that is up to you. Now, here's another rule that we added here. There is a 2-unit max per player on the same artillery piece. So you can't bring 3 culverines as a player. Now, if I got to change that because there's only a 2 artillery max now. Well, actually, this will all get explained as I go into the other rules. So there's a 2-unit max per player of the same artillery piece. So if you wanted to use all of your artillery to have one person bring 2 mortars or 2 serpentines, you can do that. But as you're going to see below, there's certain factions, like it says here, factions that can bring an additional artillery piece still have to conform to this rule, though they can exceed the artillery max. So when the defending artillery max is 2, let's say I'm playing as Scotland, which has the additional artillery rule. This is one of the main questions I've been getting. So as Scotland, I could not bring 3 mortars because that would be more than 2 units of the same artillery piece. I could bring 2 mortars, but with Scotland you could bring 3 mortars as a team. What do I mean by that? Well, you get 2 artillery as a team before Scotland's advantage. So if myself playing as Scotland, I brought a mortar, and my ally Venice brought a mortar, then I could use my additional power to bring a second mortar, which would give our team total 3 mortars. So that's how the ability is powerful. Or you could be allied with Poland, and then you could bring the 2 mortars. You could bring the 2 mortars, and Poland could bring a serpentine, or however you wanted to add that up. But that's how the power works. But you, as the Scotland player, can't just bring 3 mortars. You would have to allow your ally to bring one of the other artillery pieces. And the 2 unit max goes with anything, not just mortars. So you can't bring 3 serpentines or 3 rocket launchers or whatever. And again, this is per player. So attackers, one player can have 2 basilisks. The next player could have 2 basilisks. We're not saying they can only have 2 basilisks as an attacking team. They can have, whatever they want to bring for that. But I just wanted to explain that there before we got into it. So it's still a very powerful advantage. I've just made it so you have to spread the artillery out a little bit with your team there. So cavalry, we're allowing 2 cavalry units per player, and that does include the general's unit. So it's not 2 cavalry plus a general. It's 2 cavalry including your general if you choose to have your general in a cavalry unit. And this can be of any kind. It can be melee cavalry, javelin cavalry, or missile cavalry. There's no restrictions on that. So if you wanted to play as Mongols and bring 2 units of horse archers, be my guest. Gunpowder units, these do not apply to artillery pieces. This is to, handgun type units. Each player is allowed 1 gunpowder unit. They could be, handgunners, arquebusiers, muskets. If it's mounted rider or camel gunner, it does count both as a cavalry and a gunpowder unit. So you could bring 1 rider and 1 general's bodyguard as the Holy Roman Empire, but you couldn't bring an additional cavalry as well, and you couldn't bring another gunpowder unit, because the rider would count both as one of your 2 cavalry and as your 1 missile, as your 1 gunpowder unit. 2 NAFs, 2 Nafutons are allowed if your faction can bring them. Can't have more than 5 of the same unit, but if it's a different unit card, you can bring 5 of them. So like Pavis Crossbowmen and Pavis Crossbow Militia, you could bring 5 of each of those, as long as it's a different unit card. We're not allowing elephants in this tournament. And then these are those faction-specific rules I was talking about. So since everyone has to play a different faction every round, I wanted to kind of balance it out a little bit by giving some of the quote-unquote bad factions some minor buffs just to help out a little bit there. So Mongols, Poland, Timurid, Egypt, Russia, the Byzantine Empire, and the Turks can all bring a 3rd cavalry unit, and it's of any type. So again, if you wanted to play the Mongols, you could bring 3 Mongol heavy horse archers and harass with that if you wanted to, and you would of course sacrifice having any major infantry, but you could do that if you wanted to. Same deal with Egypt and all the other factions listed there. And the Byzantine Empire, Scotland, Poland, and Denmark can all bring an additional artillery piece. So that's what I was talking about with the artillery rules up above. So Byzantine Empire and Poland, if you notice, qualify for both of the faction bonuses. So with the Byzantine Empire, you can bring both the 3rd cavalry and an additional artillery piece. Same with Poland. You can utilize both of those advantages. It's not a one or the other. And then faction choice rules talks about how we're going to pick factions, and I actually want to demonstrate this for you guys, so it'll be easier just to show you here. I'm going to let Medieval 2 load back up. And we're going to run into a little custom battle here, just to give you an example. So let's say this is the tournament battle, and Team 2 is defending, and we've got Holy Roman Empire, Spain, and Venice. All right, so there's our 2v3. So the way it would work, assuming these are players and not the computers, so player 1 gets to choose. So I'm player 1. Right now I'm England. So once the match starts and the tournament official sanctions the tournament, he goes, okay, does everybody agree that this is a tournament sanctioned match? And everybody agree we are going to abide by the rules of the tournament and the decisions of tournament officials. Everyone goes, yes. Okay. Then attacker 1, choose your faction. All right, I'm going to play as the Moors. And then I'd type in, I'm taking the Moors. All right, then defender 1 would get to choose. I'm going to take the Byzantines. Then he'd type in, take the Byzantines. Then go attacker 2, he would choose his faction. Defender 2, he would choose his faction. And then attacker 3 would choose his faction. And so that's the order in which factions are getting picked. Please remember, you can only play a faction one time per section of the tournament. So if you play Spain in this game, like attacker 2 here, you can't play Spain again until the playoff rounds. Let's tap back here to the tournament. And so that's what this talks about here, is what we just went over there. And then battle replays, please do save the battle replay, send it in to myself via Discord or via the tournament channel email on the Tower Project YouTube channel, which is the channel you are watching this video on. And please do save screenshots of your results and send those as well, just to make sure everybody's results are the same, and so there's evidence of it. To take a screenshot, you press print system requirements in game. That'll automatically put it on your clipboard, and then you can paste it wherever. Quitting an admitted defeat. If there's an emergency exit, as long as you let people know, hey man, there's been an emergency, I gotta leave. You let people know, okay, fine, we'll redo the match. And this is where substitute players really come in handy, because then it's all right, let's rehost, let's get our 4th player in here to substitute, boom, we can just redo the match right there. But you do still have to have the match completed by the end of the tournament week. You have 1 week to play each of your rounds. So let's say you're team 4 and you're going up against team 5 and it's Tuesday. Well, and the player has to do an emergency exit. You still have to get the battle done before midnight on Saturday in order for it not to be a forfeit for both teams. So that's why I'd encourage people to try to do their battles earlier in the week, so that way if someone crashes or someone lags out or someone has to leave, you can try the battle again. You'll have some time to do it throughout the week. Don't wait until Saturday night to play it unless you absolutely have to. The other thing about that with the random number generator that I want to talk about with this, if you let me know, or whichever tournament official is overseeing your game, if you let us know that you're playing before you get on and play the match, then we'll reward you with the following perk. So let's say, again, you're Team 4 and you're about to play Team 5, and you give me, let's say, you talk to Team 5, and they say, okay, we're all going to play at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night. And then you go and put that in the Discord for the schedule of games. If you put that in the Discord on Tuesday night, so I have, or at least like Wednesday afternoon, so I have a few hours to get everything ready for the match, then I will do the random number generator for the culture of the castle at that point. And so you'll have some advance notice of what the culture is. So if you let me know when you're going to play the battle a day before, well, then you can practice for that battle on the culture. So you'll know, okay, we're going to play on the northern castle. Let's practice a couple battles at the northern castle before we get into the battle. But if you just, everybody pops on and say, all right, let's play the battle right now, then, of course, we have to do the random number generator for the culture right there on the spot. So that is the perk you will be receiving if you give me some advance notice of when you're going to be doing the battle, or whichever tournament official is overseeing the battle. And it talks about how matches can be called based on percentages and if there's a clear winner, etc. Probably those are likely never to happen, but they are in here in case that odd case does. Disconnects and lags and and desyncs all happen. We understand it. And even to the best people, they can have game crashes and desyncs and all that kind of stuff. So we will work through that as best as we can. But if you keep crashing the game and you can't get the substitute in or something before the week's over, if the battle's not finished by the end of the week, it's still a forfeit, no matter what the reason is. And that is just because we have to keep the tournament moving, or it's just going to fizzle out and die. So just make sure you have the battle done by the end of the week, and there's no problems. If it's the league games, all we're asking you to do is 2 castle sieges throughout the entire week. These aren't fortresses, they're castles, so the battles aren't going to be 3 hours long unless you make them 3 hours long. So just get your battles done as early in the week as you can, so that way if something goes wrong, you have a couple days where you can try the battle again, bring in your team substitute if you have one, whatever. Just try not to wait until 9 o'clock on Saturday night to do your battle, and then one guy crashes or someone has to leave and then it's a forfeit. And of course, if that happens and there's nothing anybody can do about it, I might make an extension, and give you guys Sunday to finish the battle, or Sunday and Monday. But that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And there's no guarantee of that either, of that additional benefit happening. So this talks about joining matches. You all know how to join matches. I don't have to go over that with you. Attacking team is team 1. Defending team is team 2. And then the tournament official will sanction the game. Everybody will say, yeah, we agree to everything. You'll do all your faction picking. And then you'll pop into the game. And that is basically what I wanted to go over here. We already talked about some of the links here, the helpful links. And I did want to also cover this, how to play in the tournament, since we do still have one team open. So if you are not currently registered in the tournament and you want to be in the tournament, join the Discord, send me a message saying you want to be in the tournament, and we'll take it from there. So that should give you guys all the information you need to know about the rules, everything in depth there. Now, someone said it was 18 pages, but my page thing says 15 here, so I'm not buying that 18-page excuse. Oh, it's 18 pages, it's too long to read. I mean, and most of this stuff is all double-spaced in big font, so it's probably only really like 7 pages worth of stuff to read. Man. Sometimes. Anyway, that should be all the information you guys need. Shouldn't be any excuses as far as not knowing the rules, not knowing the procedures. Please do watch this video if you need a reference, or watch the previous video and do reference the tournament document that we went over in this. Really looking forward to the tournament. I think it's going to be an awesome time. Let's all try to hype it as much as we can, get as many people interested in watching it, and try to breathe some life back into this game. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time. And I am working right now on part 3 of the Medieval 2 Experts Guide. I'm going to try to get that out today if I can. If not, it'll be out tomorrow. So we might have a double upload today. But anyway, thank you guys again so much for watching. Stay tuned to the Tower Project. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.